Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing well. Oh, I have the question thing up. Have you? Do you have a question?
Yeah, we don't have enough time though.
Well, you can go ahead and ask one.
What's your favorite tree?
Your favorite tree?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's branches, right? Palm Sunday. Palms. What's your favorite
So
tree?
if you don't say palm tree, then
that is not my favorite tree.
Are you not?
Not my favorite tree.
Are you not biblical? If so,
they are painful trees, actually.
Palm trees are?
Yeah, we have them in our yard.
They are painful
Yeah.
trees. Those
They're very strong
little
trees.
buggers
too,
are like swords.
Actually. Yeah, they are like swords. Very interesting. Think of that on Palm Sunday. But good morning. We're so glad you're joining with us this morning, and we hope y'all are doing great. So say hello in the chat and tell us what your favorite tree is. I think mine would probably be a dogwood tree. They're so pretty. I like dogwood trees. There's lots of pretty trees out there. Actually, I don't know all their names. I should from nature back in the day when I took nature classes. But.
So speaking of swords, we're in Holy Week now.
Yeah. It's quite the transition. Trees to swords. Without face. You got 13 seconds.
We're in Holy Week now. We're celebrating here in a few days the betrayal and the arrest of Jesus. Where Peter cuts off the ear of the soldier Malchus.
Mm-hmm.
I heard, and I never thought about this, but it makes complete sense. Peter wasn't going for the ear. Peter was going for the head to take his head off, and missed. Took off the ear. Have you ever thought about that? Because I've always heard the story, and I thought,
I'd just like to know where that
Peter
comes
cut
up
his ear
in
off.
conversation, because that certainly has never come up in conversation for me. I didn't even know the guy's name was Malchus.
Yeah, which I thought that was just like a church history thing. But if you actually read through the text in the New Testament, it actually gives the soldier's name.
I didn't know that. But we're very glad. We're gonna sit in Palm Sunday.
We're already late this morning, and we've only just begun.
And we're so glad you're here with us today. And I think Maggie's going to.
Maggie's here with us.
Oh, look at these tree comments coming in. So proud of y'all. Ooh, Japanese maples, Loretta, are beautiful. And willow trees are gorgeous also.
Yeah.
I like trees a lot.
Yeah,
There
we go. What is your favorite tree? There we go.
See?
Because it's Palm Sunday. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right.
All right, enjoy. Maggie's going to start us off with some awesome music.
All right, from Florence, Alabama, here's Maggie.
Good morning, Christ Table. It is good to be together with you this morning. It has been a wild week here in North Alabama with lots of storms and bad weather, some damage in our neighborhood. And so this morning, I am thankful to have woken up safe in my home with my family. And so we're going to begin this morning with a song of joy. I hope that you will sing it with us. All my life, all I know, God's been good to my soul. Mountain high, valley low, I'm gonna sing wherever I go. God is for me, He's not against me. I will hold to the plans He has for me. When I'm broken, He will heal me. I will call on the name of the Lord. All my life, all I know, God's been good to my soul. Mountain high, valley low, I'm gonna sing wherever I go. Song in my sorrow, He's my hope and my strength for tomorrow. When the storms rise all around me, I will call on the name of the Lord. All my life, all I know, God's been good to my soul. Mountain high, valley low, I'm gonna sing wherever I go.
Well, good morning and welcome to Christ's Table. My name is Kevin.
And I'm Sally.
And we are grateful that you are here this morning with us on it's a Palm Sunday.
It is a Palm Sunday.
So the question this morning was, what is your favorite tree? Which I thought was actually a rather random.
You thought it was a weird question.
I did. I thought it was a little random of a question this morning, but Palm Sunday, palm trees.
He doesn't know I think about it all week to try to find something. Not really.
Do you really?
No.
Okay. All right.
It's just how my brain works.
Well,
so we're super glad you guys are joined us this morning. Hope you're enjoying your boxes and had some table conversations.
Yeah, we're a
with
week
the combo
into
cards.
it now, into the boxes. Last week we did prayer, and this week I think is Saints.
I am challenging y'all.
Yes.
I have not seen a hashtag card comment yet or something. We did a card last night at dinner.
We did. What was
would you rather
live in a
tree house or a boathouse?
Or a boathouse, a tree house or a boathouse. I think all but one was boathouse.
Yeah, I think so.
I can't swim though. I wasn't the one, but I said
there were
boathouse.
lots of parameters.
As long as the boathouse
yeah.
has
wouldn't
life
rock
jackets.
with the water. And
I like
was
rocking
big.
in the water.
Yeah, I don't know. So anyway, use your questions, build a bridge, get to know somebody. Say, hey, I'm doing this random thing. Let's ask a question. That was intentional, those boxes. But we're excited this week. Also, you start your Wednesday night.
Yeah, Wednesday night we're doing
group study.
Love Does. You don't have to read the Love Does book. You just have to show up. We have a study guide that went out in the boxes, but you really don't even need the study guide either to be a part of it. You just show up, play a short video from Bob Goff. If you like Bob Goff, this is going to be great because Bob Goff is going to be with us by video in each and every one of these on Wednesday nights. And if you want information about how you can be a part of that, all you need to do is go to that URL right over there, www.christtable.today. Sign up for the email list there, and then I'll send out an email. Oh, it's probably going to be Tuesday night or Wednesday morning before that goes out. So you've got some time, but don't delay. So if you want to be a part of that, everybody's invited. Whether or not you're a part of Christ's Table, you can come and be a part of that group study with Bob Goff Wednesday nights at, I think it's 8 o'clock Eastern time.
Yeah, and if you don't know Bob Goff, he's a fun guy to listen to. So if you haven't heard of him, he's one of those that's a very easy listening to person. So join that. Ooh, looky here. We did a card, deep conversation. Very good. I think it'd be a better friend. It's a deep one. Very good. Yeah, so you never know how your little cards. I love this box. Kevin struggles with this box, but I love this box. So
I'm already off to the next box.
Yep.
Yeah, so Palm Sunday today. Holy Week this week, it's a season of reflection, and for a lot of people, reflecting on this week in church and Holy Week can bring up some trauma if your relationship with the church is rocky, or your spiritual relationship with God is rocky. Then this week is difficult for some of us. So whenever we go into prayer today, we want to take that into account, that there are lots of emotions. It's a phenomenal week for a lot of us. It's a high watermark, but that may not be for everybody. So no matter where you are in your spiritual journey, killing it or not even sure you're on it or want a spiritual journey, Christ's Table is really here for you.
And our encouragement, or my encouragement, I won't speak for you, is no matter where you are on that journey, to use the resources in front of you, just to engage with a spiritual practice this week. It is a time of year that lots of people engage, but don't let that keep you. If you're like, ugh, I don't like the, trendiness of it or whatever, that's fine. But it is a pretty cool week to kind of journey with Jesus. And he, kind of what I was reminded of this morning is he felt a lot of the feelings some of us feel, is rejection and hurt and pain, for sure, by people he loved and trusted. And so all of us can relate to that scenario. Sadly, we can all relate to it. So I would just encourage you to journey through it and try to see it through the eyes of a personal God personal God that walks on this earth, that went through human pain, to get to know us better and to get to be with us. And so take a step or try a practice this week.
So if you have a prayer request, prayer is one of those spiritual practices, maybe one of the more difficult spiritual practices, but also one of the most important spiritual practices. We're going to spend a moment or two in prayer here. Encourage you, if you have something that we can pray for you, go ahead and put that in the comments wherever you're watching, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, Facebook, on the website. We will get those. And if you're watching by delay, go ahead and do that. We still see them and pray for them. And if it's too deep or too personal or too long, feel free to just put unspoken or pray for me, And you can always private message those to us. And we like to hear the celebrations as well, answered prayers, things in your life that are going well or that you're in celebration of. So let us know those too as we go to prayer. Then at the end of prayer, we'll put up the words to the Lord's Prayer. And we encourage you, if you're able to and would like to say that prayer aloud with us when that comes.
Yeah. So let's pray. Dear God, thank you for today. Thank you for a new day, for a Sunday to stop and remember a time that you were super celebrated and people were very excited and came to see you and praise you, God. And it's where we kind of all want to be, is in that stage of being in awe of what you do and who you are. And so many times as we do that, we get distracted by the things around us and we forget how amazing you are. And so God, I pray for this next week. I pray that as we journey through to Easter, God, that maybe this Easter can be a very different Easter, that we can see the story through different eyes. We can understand the personal connection that each one of us needs in your story and in your journey. And God, help us to find time in the busyness of our lives to try a spiritual practice or to take a step in our spiritual walk, or just spend some time and let you engage with us wherever we are on our journey, God. God, I pray for all the unspoken prayer requests. I pray for, there's so much going on in the world today. My heart is heavy, obviously, for the events that happened in Nashville this week, Lord. And we just don't understand it. And God, just the fighting that goes on in places, not necessarily physical fighting, but the verbal fighting. God, we need your grace and peace and love to step into those dark spaces and help us know what our role is in that. Help us figure out how to be a part of the solution and not a part of the problem. Help us to figure out how to truly show your love and your grace and your perspective. And Lord, just help us be a light somehow. Help us be a little glimpse of you. God, we know you can be present in all of these situations. We know that you have a way of joining families and people in the unthinkable and standing by their side in ways that even we can as humans here on earth. So God, I ask that as these families journey such hard and terrible pain, and even as those of us that are watching have endured so much pain or maybe heartache throughout the last couple of years, maybe this season is a tough time, God. God, I think the season has to be a super tough time as you look at it. We want to rush to you rose from the dead, but walking through it, the choice you made to go through the feeling of abandonment and rejection and pain and death, I don't know that I could do that knowing where the road led, God. So I just thank you. I thank you for letting us journey with you. I thank you for taking the journey, even knowing it was going to end or have a step through major pain. God, help us to see that walk differently this week. God, we love you. I thank you, especially today. It's for new life. And just pray for Kevin as he speaks and help us to walk with you.
So, Lord, we together pray the words of the prayer that you gave to us. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever. Amen.
We're going to continue in prayer via song. We have these songs where we sing directly to God, and we use them as a means to communicate, to commune, and to hear him respond. Your eyes see me when I am hidden. Your eyes see me when I'm brokenhearted. Your eyes see me when I am hidden. And your eyes see me. And your eyes see me your eyes see me. When I am heavy, your eyes see me. When I call to you, Lord, you answer me. You answer me. When I call to you, Lord, you answer me. You answer me. When I call to you, Lord, you answer me. You answer me. When I call to you, Lord, you answer me. You answer me. Oh, yeah. And your eyes see me when I am wandering, and your eyes see me when I fear I've lost my way again. Your eyes see me when I am wandering, and your eyes see me. When I call to you, Lord, you answer me. You answer me. When I call to you, Lord, you answer me. You answer me. When I call out to you, Lord, you answer me. You answer me. When I call to you, Lord, you answer me. You answer me. Pull me out of the darkness. Pull me out of my pain. Pull me out of the deep end. When I fall in, oh, you bring me out in the light, God, to a wide open place. You set my feet on the dry ground, yeah. I'm dancing again, I'm dancing. I'm dancing again, I'm dancing. Oh, 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 oh. When I call to the Lord, you answer me. You answer me. When I call out to you, Lord, you answer me. You answer me. When I call out to you, Lord, you answer me. You answer me. When I cry out to you, Lord, you answer me. You answer me. Your love, oh Lord, is strength to my soul. Hope for tomorrow, it won't let go. Your presence is the joy of my life. To you I lift my eyes. As for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. We will sing of your love forevermore. As for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. Serve the Lord. Your word alone, a lamp to my feet, a light to my path as you're leading me. Your ways, oh Lord, are higher than mine. To you every door, write it on every wall, sing it in every room. Jesus, Jesus, open up every door, write it on every wall, sing it in every room. Jesus, as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. We will sing of your love forevermore. As for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. Serve the Lord. Open up every door, write it on every wall, sing it in every room. Jesus.
So, truth of the matter is, we all have those things that we are not supposed to do, but we do anyway, right? I mean, if you're a kid and your parents are around, you don't have to admit that you do things that you're not supposed to do. But I think that most of us would say, especially adults, that we end up doing things that we're not supposed to do anyway. And I have to admit that I found my thing in the library at the age of 13 in the fiction section whenever I picked up a book that was in a category of books that I was not supposed to be reading. And those were the scary section of books. And Stephen King, I was immediately attracted to because he is the king of a good, really scary story. And the first Stephen King book that I ever read, Pet Sematary, the title of which sometimes dead is better. And if you know that story, you know that the pets that are buried in Pet Sematary, they return, they come back to life, they resurrect after being buried in that cemetery, but they don't come back in the same way as they were before. They are not nearly as kind or as loving. You might even say that they are the exact opposite of that. And so sometimes dead is better. And all of this actually, I think, begs a very important question this morning. And that question is this: can you trust your pet? Now, you may have never thought about it before. Are you able to trust your pet? But now that I mention it, maybe you've wondered whether or not your pet is really as trustworthy as you think that they are. I ran across this on the internet a while back: how to tell if your cat is plotting to kill you. And I have to admit, whether you're a dog person or a cat person or neither or both, I think that we all have to admit that if there was one animal on the planet that may well be plotting your demise, it probably would be a cat, right? So here are some ways in which you can know whether or not your cat is maybe plotting to kill you. First of all, if your cat needs on you, you may think of this as a sign of affection, but actually the author of this list believes that this is a warning sign that you should pay attention to. Another one: excessive shoveling of kitty litter. It's practice, and you should be very careful if you notice that your cat is spending more time maybe practicing in the kitty litter than is normal. If your cat brings you dead animals, oftentimes we have interpreted that as being a gift, but maybe it's actually a warning to you. Pawing at your face while you sleep. Cats aren't very good at smothering people, but here, don't try and stop them. They might be trying to do something. And here is another one: sprinting at light speed out of any room that you enter. So today's text isn't necessarily about a killer cat, but it does center around one of the most innocuous animals that were ever created. And so why don't we turn to Luke chapter 19? And so in Luke chapter 19, where we find ourselves in our text today. We're going to have here the story of Jesus, and Jesus is going to tell us a little bit about this story of an animal. So why don't we just go ahead and jump in here in Luke chapter 19, go into that village over there. He told them, and as you enter it, you will see a young donkey tied there that no one has ever ridden. Untie it and bring it here. Now, he says, if anyone asks you, why are you untying that colt? Just say, the Lord needs it. I'm just not convinced this is going to work. If I'm the disciples, I'm saying, what? I'm not sure that's going to work, Jesus. So this donkey is tied up, which points out that this donkey was created for a purpose. In fact, it points out multiple times in the text that the donkey is tied up. It had an owner. It was tied up because it had a use. And so it seems as though there is competing uses for the donkey here. There is the use that the owner uses the donkey for, right? Because it's tied up. It's owned by somebody. Doesn't want it to get away because that donkey has a purpose. But Jesus has this like other need, this other purpose. And it was going to have to be untied in order to experience that purpose. Does that make sense? So it's tied to one purpose. It's tied to one person, but it's going to have to be untied in order to be found in its new purpose. All right, so you get that. And I'm just going to jump right to it here. From what do I need to be untied in order to be able to go with Jesus to fulfill my purpose? Now, you may actually be saying to yourself, I'm not sure I want that purpose. I'm not sure I want to be untied. I'm not certain that I'm not sure that I want to be alongside Jesus. And I think that's okay. I really do. But I think that there is a sense in which we have to, at some point or other, end up kind of making a decision as to who we tie ourselves to. And if we want to be with Jesus, that means that sometimes we may have to untie ourselves from other things in order to follow that thing for a while. You can't, I think, fully commit to Jesus when you're tied to something. Can you check him out? Can you try it? Yeah, I think so. Oftentimes what I see is that we're tied to things that for us are maybe comfortable, normal, but may well be harmful to us. Sometimes it's easier to stay in the abuse that we know rather than risk what we don't know. Now, what does that mean? I think for the donkey, if I were to paint a picture, I wonder about the donkey's owner. I wonder what it was currently tied to, what kind of life it was experiencing. The fact that it's tied outside probably means that it wasn't being kept inside a house, which would have been normal in those days, rather than being kept outside of the house. And so the question becomes, is what we are tied to really better than being untied from those things in order to follow and experience Jesus? I think that's a decision that we all have to make. But I think that the sense here is that whenever we are untied, we're free. So let's jump back into Luke chapter 19. So they went and they found this colt, just as Jesus had said. And sure enough, as they're untying it, it goes just exactly like Jesus says. Why are you untying that colt? And I'm just imagining the disciples there, like they're caught. They freeze. Their eyes are huge, and they're like, oh no, this is not our colt. What do we do now? And so they remember that Jesus has actually told them what to do now. And so I imagine them like straightening up, putting on as bold of a face as they can to this person who clearly believes they're about to run off with his donkey, and they are clearly about to run off with his donkey. And so they say, the Lord has need of it. Maybe they said it sheepishly, but I imagine that they kind of puffed their chest out and postured themselves in as strong as a posture as possible and said, the Lord needs it. Why, pray tell, does Jesus need a donkey, though? I mean, to me, that's the real question. Why does Jesus need a donkey? I mean, when you think about it, Jesus needs a horse. Jesus needs a stallion. He needs something that's big, that's strong if he's going to ride it. And we know, I think the story, most of us, that he's about to ride this thing into Jerusalem. And if he's going to make an entrance, you'd think that he's going to make an entrance on an animal that is respectable to make an entrance on. It'd be like the Oscars were a few weeks, and on the red carpet, whenever everybody pulls up to the red carpet, they're in a limo or they're in a super expensive car. It would be like pulling up to the Oscars maybe in a 3-cylinder smart car. Or it would be like pulling up to the Oscars in an old beat up Chevy from the 1970s, an El Camino or something. It just doesn't seem to fit that Jesus is pulling up to the Passover celebration week, Holy Week, and doing so on a donkey. Doesn't add up. Donkeys were substandard animals. They were seen as being stupid and stubborn and subservient, not as being royal or regal. If you're going to have the choice as to whether or not you can own a horse or own a donkey, I think most of us probably would choose the horse, right? In fact, whenever we think of a person as being substandard, or whenever we think of a person being foolish or stupid, shouldn't use those words to call other people things, but we kind of think of them as a donkey, right? Or we have another 3-letter word for donkey that we use for people like that, right? So donkey is like a punchline whenever you're trying to punch somebody by telling them that they're dumb. If someone's stubborn, we call them a mule. It's just not something you want to be. So the truth is, though, is that actually donkeys are smarter than horses. Donkeys are smarter than an ox. Donkeys operate in the harshest climates. These are amazing animals. They require very little feeding. And in fact, in desert climates, they're like second only to camels for how little they eat and how long they can subsist in harsh climates and environments. Donkeys are, they're not stubborn. Donkeys are actually patient. Donkeys are gentle. Donkeys are loyal. Donkeys were some of the earliest domesticated animals. So how do they get the reputation for being stubborn and gloomy and foolish? Well, because they're not horses. That's why. They're not big and beautiful. They're not sleek. They don't have speed. but they have a lot of things that horses don't have. So, sometimes what everyone else treats as second best, God actually sees as first best. Sometimes what everyone else treats as number two, God sees as number one. If you ever feel like a donkey, like you are stupid, like you're overlooked, like you're underappreciated, if you've ever felt like you are second, that's not God. And Jesus rode a donkey. God chose a donkey in order to prove to you that you have worth. Look at this in Zechariah chapter 9, verse 9. Rejoice, O people of Zion. Shout in triumph, people of Jerusalem. Look, your king is coming to you. He is righteous and victorious, yet he is humble, riding on a donkey, riding on a donkey's colt. Now, here we see that Jesus is not riding on a mule, but Jesus is riding on a donkey. And in Hebrew history, when an heir to the king was designated, he sat on the king's mule. So Solomon was seated on David's mule. In Jesus' days, mules were considered strong symbols of greatness, but the mule was not the foal of a donkey. A mule was the foal of a mare. So Jesus was not riding on some hyped up kingly hybrid like Solomon had ridden on and like the kings previously had ridden on. Instead, as Matthew makes clear in his gospel, Jesus was riding on the most absolute lowly of workday creatures, a full-bred donkey, the exact opposite of a stallion, lowly, humble. A donkey was trusted with the greatest cargo in the world. And this should make you feel better about yourself. Psalm chapter 20 says that some trust in chariots, some trust in horses. The one animal you can trust most is the donkey. If you have a donkey, you can trust your donkey. You can't trust your horse. Horses are not good decision makers. You have to make the decisions for the horse. But a donkey, you can trust your donkey. Your cat, can't trust your cat. Can't even trust your dog, I don't think. But you can trust your donkey. Jesus trusted a donkey. Jesus sat on the back of a donkey. He trusted him to ignore the noise and all the confusion. He trusted him to pick out the sure-footed path through a tiny slope down into the city. The donkey knew where he was going. The donkey stuck to the road, regardless of the crowds, the noise, the distractions, the sheep dung, and all the dangers. And you can't tell the Jesus story without telling the donkey story. This donkey that gets the least amount of praise in the story actually is the hero in the story. So why do I say all of that? I say all of that to say that maybe it's time that we as disciples of Jesus, maybe it's time that we as believers and followers of Jesus, if that is the path that you are on, maybe it's time that we see ourselves more as donkeys than great, powerful stallions for Jesus. I think Jesus needs a beast, an animal, a person of service. And he needs one of leadership and management and beauty. Jesus needs someone, he needs a people who he can trust to carry him into the world. So the question really is simply this: can Jesus trust his donkeys of today to carry him in the world? You may be saying, okay, what did you call me? Yeah, okay, I did. All right. I did. Let's just call it like it is, right? We don't want to be the donkey in the story, right, though? We don't want to be a donkey. We want to be a stallion. We want to be Jesus. We want to be Peter. We want to be all of these other characters or animals in the story. Nobody wants to be the donkey, right? But to follow Jesus is not to ride into town on stallions of success and glory, not to come in with your sword flaming in order to take out the heathen and the heretics and the wolves. with your keyboard. It's not any of those things, but it's to be continually looking unto Jesus, the author and the finisher of your faith, for the joy that was set before him, endured the cross, despising the shame, and sat down at the right hand of the throne of God. Luke chapter 19. As Jesus rides along on this donkey on what for us is Palm Sunday today, the crowd spread out their garments on the road ahead of him. And whenever he reached the place where the road begins to start down the Mount of Olives, and I got to tell you, I've been there. It's an amazing view. All of the followers began to shout, and they sing as they walk along, praising God for all the miracles that they had seen. And this is what the text of Luke tells us that they sang. Blessings on the King who comes in the name of the Lord. Peace in heaven and glory in highest heaven. If you're paying attention, you're going to recognize that phrase. You're going to recognize that phrase from 17 chapters earlier in the book of Luke, where a whole bunch of angels are standing on a hillside right outside of Bethlehem, and a bunch of shepherds are in awe of what they're seeing and what they're hearing. Blessings on the King who comes in the name of the Lord. Peace in heaven, glory in highest heaven. Now, it's not the angels who are shouting this, it's the people. To a Jesus, riding not on a stallion, but on the lowest form of a donkey imaginable. Blessings on the King who comes in the name of the Lord. Peace in heaven and glory in highest heaven. Maybe read that with me. Blessings on the King who comes in the name of the Lord. Peace in heaven and glory in highest heaven. One more time. Blessings on the King who comes in the name of the Lord. Peace in heaven and glory in the highest heaven.
Teach me that it all belongs, that everything is sacred. I eat the bread and drink the wine, but help me love my neighbor. Show me how to hold this life, 'cause I don't wanna waste it. No, I don't wanna waste it. Oh, heaven is upside down. Oh, it could be here and now. Oh, seeing it all around, that everything is sacred. The ordinary shines and glows, filled with your intentions, and you don't see the lines we draw between secular and sacred. Now show me how to hold this life, 'cause I don't wanna waste it. No, I don't wanna waste it. Oh, heaven is upside down. Oh, it could be here and now. Oh, seeing it all around, that everything is sacred. Oh, everything is sacred. Life is a gift and the giver is good. Life is a gift and the giver is good. Oh, 'cause life is a gift and the giver is so good. Oh, life is a gift and the giver is good. is sacred.
Thank you, Maggie. Before we go this morning, we have the privilege of being able to share together in communion. So I want to give you just a moment. If you've not already done so, to head into the kitchen or wherever you are, go and find something where you can participate in communion with us. We do this every week. And so would love for you to get to the rhythm of joining us. Now, if you have bread and wine or grape juice, then that's great. That's perfect. If not, go ahead and grab whatever you have. I have water this morning in here, and I actually have a tortilla. So if you have anything at all, sometimes I've seen people use breath mints and chewing gum, coffee, milk, syrup. Really, it's simply just the act of allowing that moment of reflection and remembrance, and then allowing yourself to take that into yourself, that grace, that mystery. And so stalling for just a moment to give you time to run and do so. This idea of donkey, I don't know if you've ever looked at a donkey from above, but if you've ever looked at a donkey from above, there is a very clear symbol on the back of a donkey. So it's fascinating to me that likely the donkey that Jesus rode into Jerusalem that day, so many years ago, had a very visible reminder of what was to come in Jesus' life, hours, days from that moment. And we remember Jesus with this meal. On the night that Jesus was betrayed, tortured, and ultimately executed, he shared a meal with his friends, and at that meal he took some bread from the table, and breaking it, he gave it to his disciples, and he said, "Take and eat this, for this is my body, which is given for you. As often as you eat this, do so and remember me." And so we remember Jesus with this, not just with our head, we remember him with our heart, those ways and moments in which he has blessed us, given us peace, shown us the way, or maybe in this moment we're seeking those things. We're asking for blessing or for peace, or to be shown the way. And so do this in remembrance of me. At the end of the meal, the text tells us that he took the cup that was on the table and he passed it around to all of his disciples and he said, "Drink all of this, for this cup is a new agreement between God and between you for the forgiveness of sins. As often as you drink of this, do so and remember me." And so this is the cup of forgiveness, one which I often remind us is a cup where we remember that we are forgiven and we allow ourselves to receive that forgiveness. And in turn, we give that forgiveness then to others and to ourselves. Do this, Jesus says, in remembrance of me. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious to you. May God's face radiate with joy because of you and bring you peace. May the peace of the Lord Jesus Christ go with you wherever he may send you. May it guide you through the wilderness, protect you through the storms. May he bring you home rejoicing at all the wonders that he has shown you, and may he bring you home rejoicing once again soon into our doors. Well, it's been great to be with you this morning for Palm Sunday. Look forward to Easter Sunday next week. But before then, tomorrow morning, 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time, Bible study begins again, live right here. Look forward to seeing you then. And then don't forget Wednesday night. And if you'd like more information about anything that's going on at Christ's Table, right there, sign up for the email, www.christtable.today. Have a great week. God bless.